As we approach the end of game week 2 of the Premier League season, it's time to have a little look back at what we've seen over the weekend as the Premier League gets into full swing. The Premier League Roundup Show back, and we are all back together for the first time in the season, some happier than others this weekend, it's fair to say. Josh and Sean, how are we, chaps?
All good, thank you.
All good, mate. Cheers.
Good stuff. And we'll start with some not so good stuff. We'll go, of course, unfortunately, to Friday night. I do wonder sometimes whether we should do this in like ascending order the other way. So I should just pick the games. We're going to go straight into it. It was Friday night. West Ham 1, Chelsea 5. An absolute shambles, to be totally honest, but not unexpected. It's what I expected. It's what all West Ham fans expected. It was just a case of how many. A 1-goal lead at the start seemed fruitless and inevitable to end, and it did. A fantastic strike from Lucas Paqueta, I must add, but that fun ended pretty quickly as Chelsea's quality shone through and our inability to defend. Contested a midfield battle and attack shone through, and Chelsea rightful victors. And there's a lot of problems at West Ham, and a lot of them are not going to be fixed in the next week before the transfer window slams shut on the 1st of September. There's concerns, legitimate ones, and people can mention the big R in terms of relegation, and it's not wildly out of the realms of possibility. But we've just got to try and put something together to try and manufacture something. Josh, West Ham, have you been shocked or not?
I've not been too shocked, to be honest, because you haven't really spent much at all in the summer. I think you blew all your budget trying to back the manager who you sacked after about 4 months, which I'm not sure is too clever. And then the new bloke who's come in, he just can't be backed because, as I say, they blew all the money backing the last fella, and they didn't give very much time. I actually think he probably did deserve a little bit more time because he brought Potter in, but he can't really spend anything. They're not his players. All the players he's got were the signings of the last manager. So, and now because of PSR, FFP, all that, he can't really get his own players in. So yeah, to be honest, I wasn't too shocked when you're signing players like Callum Wilson. Is it really too much of a shock how bad they've been? Maybe getting beat 5-1. Probably didn't expect that much, and 3-0 to Sunderland. Probably wouldn't expect it to be that bad, but I did think they'd struggle this season. It's just an aging side. The back three is really not convincing. I noticed you've got that. Is it Agard back? He wasn't even there last season, was he? He was out on loan. He's just come straight back in. That's a bit bizarre. Tabido, I don't think he's been too great for you. I think he's going to have more than enough, mainly just because this league is just it's just crap at the minute. It's pretty much a 17-team Super League, and I actually still think the three who come up will go straight back down. I think the league's got a real problem. And to be fair,
I wish I had as much confidence as you, Josh. I really wish I had as much confidence as you.
Well, if it's like the last few years, it'll be 30 points, won't it? Well, not even 30 points. So I think that he'll easily get that. Still got players like Bowen, Paqueta, so I think he's more than enough to stay up. But yeah, it's a strange one with Potter. I liked him at Brighton, and I thought he's still a good coach. Chelsea job was just a bit too big for him, and he did have about 40 players. But I'm really not sure he was ever that great, to be fair. When you look at it, he only had that one decent season with Brighton where they were top 6 after 10 games. The rest of it, they were in the table. So yeah, maybe, but I don't think Potter's fully the issue, to be fair. I think there's definitely deeper issues upstairs at the club. But yeah, it's not a good situation for you at the minute.
It's not, and the issues do lay a lot deeper than the manager, that is for sure. I'm not sure what's happened to Sean. He went black and then he's disappeared. So we will try and get him back. I'm not entirely sure where he is gone. He's probably still celebrating Tottenham winning Man City for another season Honestly, you cannot write this stuff, can you? Let's see who is joining us in the chat. Leslie, thanks for joining us. Hope you are well. Josh's granddad is here and very happy. We'll come on to that game a little bit later on. Josh was there, so we'll have his thoughts on the new stadium as well. So we will discuss that in a short while's time. Everyone's saying hello to her in the chat. Indeed. Right, we were going to do Spurs next. We're just going to hold off and just see whether Sean reappears. So in the meantime, let's go to a game that will probably, come the end of the season, be looked at as a relegation 6-pointer. And this shocked me, actually, after last week. Sunderland were very good at home. Of course, first game back in the Premier League, blah, blah, blah. They were very good. They had energy. They were exciting. And we were talking to the fans on the way home, and they were almost putting this down as 3 points instantly. It was barely a discussion. Yeah, we'll beat Burnley next week. That's what they all said. Yeah, we'll beat Burnley next week and we'll have 6 points after 2 games. Not quite so simple, as Burnley at home have beaten Sunderland by 2-0. This shocked me, and it is like a 3-team mini league down there, and Burnley have got the upper hand of Sunderland, which many probably weren't expecting. Josh.
No, definitely not. If you look at Sunderland's first 3 games, it was West Ham at home, Burnley away, and then I think it's Brentford at home for them next week. Yeah. And if that's a great chance to get maybe even like at least 7 points. But to be fair, Burnley had to win, because if you look at their games now, I'm pretty sure they play in like the next 8. I think they play all the big 6 or something like that. They've got very, very tough fixtures now, so that was a must-win for them already. However, I just really can't see anything other than the 3 come up, going straight back down. I know they've all got wins already, but, well, Burnley, one of them was against Sunderland. The team have also come up. Leeds, to be fair, I didn't think they were great at all against Everton. I just thought the crowd got behind them. They were on the front foot, but they still created very little, and then they got a dodgy penalty, and that's what won it for them. And Sunderland, to be fair, they were very good last week, and I'll probably give them the best chance out of the 3, because they have actually gone for it a bit in the market. I think they've spent, I think it's past 100 million now. So I'm hoping that they'll give it a good go. But even then, I didn't get to watch the game, but from what it sounded like, Burnley deserved the win. And people run about after the Spurs game, Burnley going for the Derby's points record and all this, and if they turn them over, it's just a bit like, I'm not sure, to be honest. It's been 2 years in a row now. The 3 have come up and gone down, and it's not good the way it's going at all. We don't want like a 17-team Super League, but I honestly think that could be the way it's going. Yeah, fair play to Burnley. They needed the win, and they got it, and deserved it from what I heard. But Sunderland, Brentford at home next week, I think that's a game they've got to be taking points from, because or that's a great start for them. Them first 3, they could have easily been on 7 to 9 points, but I'm sure if the start's that good, they'll have a bad run somewhere, so they're definitely going to get a few spankings. They're the type of games you've got to be winning if you want to stay in the league. The type of like Brentford, West Ham at home, the bottom half teams at home, they need to be winning them. But yeah, fair play to Burnley. They needed it.
They did, yeah, and I think both Burnley and Sunderland have got some horrible runs coming. I mean, Sunderland, I think when they get to about November time, they've got a horrendous couple of months around November and December, where they've got basically one after another. So I think both these teams need to get in with their points early and get themselves to a position where mid-October they might be, 14th, let's say, but they're going to be dragged back down with all the big teams that they'll have to play in that sort of chunk and cluster of games that both teams have been handed due to the fixtures. So that's the way that is, and I think one team will stay up this year. I think one will drop. I think there is a gap, but I mean, you've seen already we've had 2 weeks and every team that have come up has got a win. I know these lot have beaten a team that's also come up, but I think there will be a stiffer competition this season. They may all 3 go back down again. That is quite possible, but I think this is the best 3 that we've had for a good 3 years. So I think there will be stiffer competition in terms of staying up than there was last year, and that is needed because I mean, probably from my point of view, I'd rather not, but from a league point of view, it is better, that is for sure. Right, I think we've lost Sean, so we will see him next week, I think. But let's go to and do let's do Tottenham without Sean. This feels weird. Manchester City 0, Tottenham 2. Waters wet. Tottenham have won at the Etihad. I don't know how they do it, but they do it every year, Josh.
Yeah, and I think they just looked so much more organised under Frank. So far, they've looked great. I mean, to be fair, first half, I thought they were just coming and parking the bus, but second half, they actually had the better chances, I thought. Levy got quite a bit of stick for sacking Ange, but when you look at it, I think, to be fair, it probably was the right decision. If you look at the record since, I think he had that good start, Ange, from August to like October, when he first come in. But if you look at the form since then, it's like bottom 3 form over an 18-month period. So it probably was the right decision. Thomas Frank, he was always going to leave Brentford. He was always that one where every time a manager was sacked, he was being his name was always in the hat, and he finally got a big move. And I think he'll do well. To be fair, it is a bit long ball and negative at times, which I know the Spurs fans they've had a bit already with Conte, Mourinho, people like that. But I do think he'll do well. They look so much more organised. City, they struggle to create anything really. They look dangerous on the break. I think this squad's probably better suited to counter-attacking football and that style of play with the fast players in the break like Johnson, Kudus, Odebert, they probably are better suited to playing on the break. I just think they looked so much more organised, harder to beat, which is just the complete opposite of what they looked under Ange. So overall, it probably was the right decision. What horrific cock up, by the way, for the first goal from Trafford. Absolute hospital ball into the midfield. I think he was pretty much on the edge of his own box with a man on him. I don't know why he played that pass, but fair play to Spurs. They set the traps and pounced on it. I was just impressed with like how hard to beat they look all of a sudden. Where last season, obviously wide open, he's come in and straight away they look hard to beat. I thought they looked the same against PSG. They sort of a bit long ball, park the bus, counter attack ish. But I think it's probably exactly what they need after 2 years of Ange ball. To be fair, so yeah, I think they'll do well this season. I think they'll give it a good go at top 4. I think they'll definitely be top 6. But as for City, I still think they'll be top 4. But I think that Club World Cup will catch up with them at some point. Them and Chelsea, and barely had a break at all. They probably feel like they've just finished last season, then straight into this season just because of that stupid tournament and just all for money after Pep's moans about his FA Cup B plays, and then they would jet him off for that. But I'm not going to get into a rant about that. But I thought they looked good against Wolves. It's a completely new team. They've rebuilt the team really, haven't they? About 4 or 5 new signings like Cherky, Reinders. It got a few in January as well, like Marmouche. I think after he had that horrific start to last season, well, by their standards, horrific. He sort of got his new team and let people like Grealish go. I think they'll probably be top 3 this season, but I don't think they'll have enough to win the league. I don't know how Spurs do it. They have got quite a decent record against Man City. I think even under Ange last season, they beat them. I think it was 3 or 4-0. So yeah, fair play. I think Tottenham be a lot better this season.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they made the change, Tottenham, and they look better, unfortunately, because of it. And I mean, City, the contrast from absolutely battering Wolves last week, and everyone going, you know what? Could the Man City be back? You know, could they be up there? And I've been shocked at how many people have tipped them for the league this year. You know, a lot of people have went Man City to make a thrashing return to the title, and I'm not sure I see it, to be totally honest. I don't know. We'll see. And Tottenham, I think they'll just about. I don't know, because they lack depth. You know, I spoke about this with Sean last week. He said the concern is they lack depth, and whether that will come back to bite them in the second half of the season with Champions League to contend with as well. We will wait and see. Now, let's go to the GTEC. Now, this shocked me, to be totally honest. Brentford 1, Aston Villa 0. Now, a lot of people have actually tipped Brentford to be, if a team is going to stay up, Brentford would be the team that goes down as a result of a promoted team staying up. They've lost Frank, they've lost Embuemo. I think they're losing Visa as well, and beat Villa at home. Josh, a draw against Newcastle last week and a defeat on the road at Brentford. What do you make of it?
Yeah, it's been a really poor start. But I think I'll start for one. I think we are miles worse off than last season. I think we had a much better team last season. Not only have we not improved, but also worse off because Rashford, Asensio have gone back. Or even players like the Sassy we had on loan last season. It's just a bit of squad depth for centre back. Whereas Ezri Konsa gets sent off last week. We now have to play two left-footed centre backs in Pau Torres and Tyrone Mings. Boubacar Kamara goes off injured 10 or 15 minutes into the game. We bring on Emi Buendia, this player who we record signing to the place Grealish 4 or 5 years ago. We tried to get rid of him last season on loan to buy Leverkusen with an option to buy, but they chose not to buy him. And then now we've got him coming on playing 75 minutes. It just shows to me that we've gone backwards, but we're not allowed to improve the team, mainly because of the PSR restrictions, which I just think are holding Villa and Newcastle and just a few teams back, to be fair. But even so, just PSR aside and the fact we haven't been able to improve the team, I think Emery has got his tactics wrong in both of the first two games. I think we're far too narrow. We have no width at all. Against Newcastle, he just tried to pack the midfield and just sort of go a bit more direct. It didn't work. He sort of tried to worry more about how they could hurt us rather than how we could hurt them. And then the game plan obviously didn't work. And then he picks the exact same team for Brentford, which is just bizarre after they got slammed for it the week before and the game plan clearly didn't work. He picks the exact same team with about 5 midfielders in, continues to put Rodgers and McGinn on the wing when they're clearly not wingers. Morgan Rodgers, he's been poor for about 6 months now, playing out wide. He was unplayable as a 10, and he just persists with playing him on the right wing where he's just completely wasted. Same with John McGinn. He's much better in the centre where he can get involved. He's getting shoved out wide. He can do a job there, but again, he's just wasted. We're just crying out for a bit of pace. We've got no pace in the side whatsoever. But there's just a complete lack of width. Rodgers and McGinn obviously are not wingers, so they keep trying to drift inside. And then you're relying on your fullbacks then to provide the width, who are both complete robots. They get the ball and just pass it back. Luca Dean and Matty Cash, they're not going to take a man on. They're never going to beat a man. So you just have to get it and pass it back. But then you'd think, if we're relying on our fullbacks for the whip, you play quicker fullbacks, but he continues to put Ian Matson on the bench, the player who he spent 40 million on the summer before. He's not even made 10 league starts since he signed, and he's one of our record signings. He continues to pick an aging Luca Dean over him, even in a narrow system. He's not picking fullbacks who are quick. So as much as we've been shafted by PSR, the manager's got to take a look at himself as well, for me. Because he's got it wrong in both the first two games. He persists with picking Pau Torres, he's not really been great since his first season for us. He's too slow and weak. He probably needs to play in a back five, because unless he's got someone quick and physical next to him, he gets easily exploited. For the first goal, he was very poor. He had 2 or 3 yards on the striker, and somehow the striker still gets the ball first, and we end up conceding from it. He's a great ball player and all, but to be honest, I just like my defenders to defend, and he can't really do that. So yeah, there's quite a few problems. As much as we're being held back, and we've only been able to spend 28 million on a French winger who's had one good season in Ligue 1, and had to sell Jacob Ramsey for 40 million. And looks like we're still unrestricted to loans. As much as that, I still think the players need to take a look at themselves, and so does the manager, because Brentford, I mean, they got absolutely played off the park by Forest the week before. They were battered, and they've had half the team ripped apart. They've had the manager taken off them. It's pretty grim there, and then they've just come and done a job on us. So
I think it's quite concerning for Villa. I mean, we spoke about it last week, and when we were talking about it, I was like, well, there's obviously been some mismanagement with PSR that's gone on here. There's obviously, somebody's made an error. They've overspent, and there's now a restriction put on Aston Villa. They're limited to what they can do, and that was obvious with the abundance of loan signings that have now obviously gone back and are hindering Villa. So Villa haven't only stood still, they've gone backwards. And to stand still is to go backwards. So to go backwards is to massively go backwards in this league. And I've seen people going Villa 4th, Villa 5th. I'll be honest, Josh, I can't see it.
No, there's a genuine chance we don't finish top half after what I've watched, especially with the Europa League as well. For me, I'd just go all out for that. Obviously, Emery, he's won the Europa League 4 times. He knows what he's doing. But I just think we have to get in the Champions League, otherwise we're gonna have to sell 2 or 3 players next summer. They're already saying next summer's gonna be an absolute disaster for Villa, Champions League or not, because of PSR. But Champions League would just massively help. But I think, let's say we're bottom half, and we know we can't get Champions League back through the league, and let's say we're in a Europa League semi-final come April. That's a lot of pressure to get in the Champions League. I think that is so much pressure, which I just don't think our team will be able to handle. So I'd much rather us be competitive in the league as well, and sort of have a go at qualifying for the Champions League through the Premier League. But I just can't see that at the minute. But as I say, we are being very much held back, and it's not even like we've massively overspent. I think the issue with Villa is the wages. But if you look at our midfield, you've got Kamara was signed for free. You've got Thielen signed for free. Jacob Ramsey, he was a youth academy player who we just sold 40 million. We've got Barkley for 5 million. Douglas Luiz is not here anymore. He was like 5 million we signed him for. The one we spent big on was Onana, 50 million, which was probably not the best of signings, but it just makes laugh how teams like Man United are in debt up to their eyeballs, and then they're sacking everyone that Ratcliffe saying we just can't spend anything, and then they've gone and spent 150 million this summer, and they reckon they were going to find another 100 million to get that believer. So it's just mental.
It's mind-boggling. Yeah. I mean, there were huge wages that went out as well, even in January with the likes of Asensio and Rashford and all the rest of the huge wages went out there. But when you look at the likes of Chelsea and Man United and Man City, and there's 300 grand a week being chucked left, right, and centre to basically everybody that they're signing. It is frustrating and it's bizarre, and
it's not fit for purpose at all anymore. I don't think, and I just think all it's doing is making the league a closed shop, because you've got the 6 teams with the most revenue, the Sky Big Six, who can spend, and then you've got the rest who are restricted. Forest, they've had a good go this summer. They'll be stuck in January or next summer when they try to go again, because they've just had a go this summer. So to me, all it's doing is just creating a closed shop, and I really don't know how anyone is meant to break in to like the sort of the Big Six when with these rules. To be honest, it's just not at all sustainable.
Absolutely, it divides the league even more. I mean, we talk about a 17 club league, and it divides it into another 6, and there's all of a sudden there's 3 tiers to our league, and that's what it's going to become with these rules. But that is a long debate for another day. Andy, thanks for joining us. Hope you are well. Lucy says you need pace. Yeah, you can have Rodriguez, Ward-Prowse. We got some brilliant players you can have with loads of pace. They have pace. They do walking pace. Yeah, they are walking pace, which is really, really tragic. Anyway, let's finish off at. Oh, do you know what? I read the next game and I went, we'll finish off at Goodison Park, but we won't finish off at Goodison Park. I had to stop myself there. We will finish off at the Hill Dickinson Stadium. Now that really doesn't go well out of my mouth, to be honest. You know, that was so weird. There was a reflex then. It just stopped me halfway through. I said good, and I was like, no, it's not. Anyway, Everton 2, Brighton 0. Josh, you were there today. First of all, thoughts on the stadium as a fully functioning working football stadium?
Yeah, it was a great view from where we were. It is impressive. I can't lie, it's very impressive, but it just doesn't at all look like a football ground from the outside. And I much prefer the traditional stadiums, to be honest. Like, you know, Goodison, Villa Park, that just them type of just like proper like British football grounds that like just, you know, where you can like feel the history, like old school football grounds. I much prefer them. But if you look at Goodison, it was falling down, and it probably was the right thing to do.
It was tired. I must admit, from the away end, it was tired. Yeah.
Yeah, it probably needed. It was the right thing to do. I just would prefer the old traditional grounds, but it is very impressive when you get inside. It holds over 50,000. Great view. You can see the docks like from inside. It's like glass windows as well. You can see like out to sea. It is great. To be fair, once you get in, it just don't really feel like a football stadium. But no, it is quite impressive at the same time. Um, as for the game, I thought, to be honest, Brighton could have been out of sight by half time. They had three clear cut chances. Danny Welbeck missed an absolute sitter, practically an open goal. Matoma hit the bar. And I'm pretty sure Matoma missed another one as well. He got him behind. I can't remember now, but I just remember the goal was quite against the run of play. Good from Grealish, just run down the wing and putting a cross in. It's something that Everton have lacked, just that winger who can actually go at a full back and just get the crowd off the seat. They sort of lack that, like under Dyche, when the wingers like Jack Harrison and Dwight McNeil just lack just anything going forward. Really, the best you're going to get from them is a decent ball in the box every now and then, and that's about it. You're never really going to see them go past the full back. Whereas now they've got that Everton, they've got it with Grealish, they've got it with Ndai, they've got it with Alcaraz. Looks like Diblin's on the way. They've got Dewsbury Hall now as well. So I think it's exciting for them. I just thought, to be honest, the way they were going, they were always going to drop at some point. They were just about surviving relegation battles year by year. And I thought that these are definitely going at some point. I don't see any vision whatsoever. But these new owners, they've had a bit of a go, got some decent players in, and it finally looks like they're on the way up after a few horrible years, like horrible 3 or 4 years. I think they are finally on the way up. Second half, they were so much better. Probably we're always going to get a few more chances because Brighton would have to come out. But I thought still they were a lot better. They defended quite well. 2 assists for Grealish. Him and Ndai were in my fantasy football, which was good. Sort of saved it this weekend. Because apart from that, I didn't have a great weekend. But yeah, I think they've always been hard to beat. They've always had a decent back four. I think what they needed was just to add a bit of flair up front, and they've certainly done that. Like I said, Grealish, Dewsbury, all Alcaraz, and Ndai they got last summer. They've added that bit of flair now. Dibbling on the way too. So I honestly think they could be top half this season. I think they'll be comfortable. Wow. I just think that's all they've ever needed. They've always been a horrible team to play against last few years, like under Dyche, just hard to beat team, decent back four, Tarkowski, Branthwaite, O'Brien, just decent defenders. I think all they've needed is just a bit of reinforcements in attack, and they've got that now. It's going to take a bit of time, obviously. Like today, I thought the ball retention was quite poor at times, but you're going to expect that after 2.5 years of Sean Dyche, that the ball retention is never going to be that great. But also David Moyes' team, but I think they will get better. I think now probably got the players to play on the break. They've got a few more flair players. Again, the only thing they lack is probably a little bit of raw pace, but it's not like they lack flair now. They've still got players who can beat a fullback, go past players, which is the main thing I think they needed. So yeah, I actually think they'll have a really good season. I thought second half they were very good and probably deserved to win in the end.
It is a new dawn for Everton, and you know, whether it's a a complete new era in terms of on the pitch, whether they can push on. It wouldn't surprise me under Moyes. You know, we've done it before. He'll do it again. He'll take a team from down there, we know all too well, and try and challenge in that top half of the table. And with that new stadium, and with some investment and some astute recruitment, then maybe Everton could be turning the page on years of fighting relegation. But we'll see. We will see. Right, last few comments. Josh, you tourist. Imagine that going to Everton, you know, and day out. But no, you go a few times a season, don't you? So probably a good experience and a good afternoon to be there. Josh, tell him how good. You know what? I'm gutted that we've got Everton on a Monday night. So we've sacked that off. But yeah, I think was it with the away fans in the corner? Because they're all wearing
in the corner.
Blue. Brighton wearing blue, Everton wearing blue fans. So they were just in the corner, weren't they?
Yeah. I think you'll probably get like 2,500 tickets as well. It's quite a big allocation because the ground's over 50,000 as well. Yeah. So it looked decent, not right in the corner, not like at the side or anything. It didn't look a bad away end, to be fair. So
yeah.
Good.
To be fair, if it's 50 odd thousand, it should be pushing 3,000 allocation then. So yeah,
Yeah, it might be. I'm not sure. I'm just guessing. Will it be 10% in the ground with or 5%, something like that? I'm not
I think
sure.
it's yeah. I think it'll be between 2.5 and 3. So that's good. That's good, and it's not up in the gods like it is at Sunderland or Newcastle or anything like that. So that's good. It is the League Cup this week for teams that are not in European competition. So we've got the mighty Wolves in the southern section of the draw. Make any sense of that? Anybody?
Is that away Wolves? Is it?
It is away. Yeah,
that's the worst away and Wolves in it. Yeah.
That is the worst away end. Yeah.
It's about like 3 rows up and like 100 rows
it's
across.
Dreadful. And then you've got the hospitality like right behind you, like literally like you could touch the glass at the hospitality there as well. So we have we've said no to that. So we unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, fortunately, we will not be at Molineux on Tuesday night. And I commend anybody that is making that trip up there a day after a bank holiday. Because that is tough. But Wolves going out, I highly doubt Wolves will be going out, unfortunately. But first Premier League manager to be sacked, Graham Potter, in my opinion. But there we are. Or maybe Nuno, actually. That's a good shout. Yeah. He seems to be having little arguments with old matey boy Marianakis. So I think he actually might be the first out the door. Probably not because of the football, but because of the owner more than anything. But that is a debate for another day. There is the 5 games that we're going to discuss for today. So we've got Newcastle, Liverpool tomorrow night on Monday Night Football, which has extra connotations like anyone would believe in terms of Alexander Isak. So that will be tasty at St James's Park for us all to toast our viewing upon for a bank holiday Monday. So that's to come tomorrow, but we'll be previewing the Wolves game tomorrow. So join us for that at 7:30, I think, for our Wolves preview. But Josh, I will see you next week. Thank you very much indeed for joining me.
No worries.
And Sean's phone died, so he was unable to join us and he couldn't find a charger. So we'll let him off this week and hopefully we'll have Sean back with us next week. But from me, come on your irons, up the Villa from Josh and up the Everton or whatever they do up there, because he's mixing between the two this weekend. And we will see you soon right here on West Ham Unofficial. Thank you very much and goodbye. Cheers, Josh.